Welcome to Fire Takes Podcast, where we give our takes on the internet's most interesting stories. I am joined today by the Fire Millennial, Gwen. How you doing, Gwen?
I am doing well, Tim.
It is a lovely day. A little bit of rain has stricken us here this evening.
And by lovely, he means we've narrowly avoided yet another tornado.
Yeah, tornadoes. I expect there are a lot of new people who've joined us. We got a little tick up. We got a mention on Frank's podcast, Prosperity Radio. We appreciate you joining us and listening in. You can find all the information about our podcast at firetakespod.com and email firetakespod@gmail.com.
Thanks for the shout out, Frank.
Yes.
We love you.
We are going to kick it right off. We have got a lineup today that I think is going to be pretty fun. We are starting off with a post from AITA, and it reads, "My girlfriend broke up with me today. Would I be the asshole if I immediately stopped sending her money?" Context: 3-year relationship, and for the last 2 years or so, I've been paying her 56% of my salary for her to do groceries, cook, clean the house, do the laundry, and wash the dishes. She just got a job about 2 weeks ago and told me she didn't want to do all the housework anymore. I said it was fine, but that I wouldn't pay her a salary anymore. I said I wouldn't make her pay any bills, but that I just wouldn't pay her any more money since she was no longer, quote-unquote, working for me. She said it was okay, and I even agreed to pay her for 2 months more nonetheless. As a side note, I've been living 4 hours away from our apartment for the last 3 months and will continue to do so for the next 3 months. During this time, we've been seeing each other on average 5 days a month. So this weekend, I drove home, and just a few hours ago before driving back to my current residence, she broke up with me. I agreed to let her stay at my apartment. It is my parents' property. We pay no rent for the next 3 months while she looks for where to live. But now that I think of it, we didn't discuss the matter of the salary I've been paying her. I could really use the money I've been paying her, but I wonder if it would be too douchey of me to flat out stop paying her and not wait for her to move out beforehand.
There's something weird going on here.
That's super weird. First of all, to say you're paying a salary to your girlfriend, that's all sorts of weird, right?
Yeah. No, there's just like the way that this was written makes me think that it was not written by somebody who lives in the U.S. And I think that we are dealing probably with somebody who lives in India.
India, huh?
Yeah.
What drove you to that assumption?
It's just the way that it's written. Anyway, it's not that it's not important, but different cultures have different ways of doing things, and we don't have any idea where the location is. But like OP's been paying her money to do groceries, cook, clean the house, do the laundry, and wash the dishes.
Yeah.
So he's basically got a bang maid.
Well, they weirdly, like, they were sharing a household, right? I mean, if you had a housewife, you wouldn't think of it as, I'm sending her 56%, which is a very specific number. I'm sending her 56% of my salary. You would think of it as, I'm putting money in a place that we can run the household from. And since she's running the household, she's taking money from that place, right?
Yeah. Yeah, like we have a joint account for our household bills. And you don't give me money, I don't give you money. We put it into the joint account for our household management. I
don't calculate the percentage of my salary down to 2 significant digits of that you get from my money, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Because again, that's weird.
It's super weird.
But then she got a job.
Yeah.
And she didn't want to do all the housework anymore. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, that feels American to me.
Well, didn't want to do all the housework anymore. Said it was fine, but I wouldn't pay her a salary anymore. He's not going to make her pay any bills. Just that wouldn't make any sense. She was no longer working, quotation marks, for me.
Yeah.
She said it was okay and even agreed to pay her for 2 more months nonetheless. So, I'm not going to pay you anymore, but I'm going to pay you for 2 more months.
2 more months, and she couldn't even stick that out, right?
Yeah.
Like, she's like, nah.
He's not even there.
Right. He's not there. She's certainly sleeping with someone else, right?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. She found somebody new while he was away.
Yeah. He offered her 57%.
What about 63.5? We'll sweeten the pot a little bit. So now it's a moot point because they've broken up. So he's letting her stay in the apartment.
Right. So free rent.
That's his parents' property.
Right.
For the next 3 months while she looks where to live and also probably sleeps with somebody else.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a way to do it. But I guess if she's under his employ and getting a salary, then he owes her severance. Is that what's going on?
Well, either that or he has to pay for unemployment insurance.
Yeah, right? Okay, let's read on here. We've got some edits and updates. All right, first edit here. Thank you for all your insights. As of now, I have let her know I will not be sending her any more money, but I haven't changed the time period she is allowed to stay rent-free. I see now most of you think I am crazy and a simp, but honestly, I kind of see her as a dependent of mine, even if she has broken up with me, and I'm genuinely worried that she might not be able to make it on her own since she has never been independent, and as it feels she has taken a rash decision guided by feelings instead of being well thought out. Believe me, she has no money saved. She has nothing but debt, and I sincerely hope she is able to pull it through. I have absolutely no intentions of taking her back or changing her mind in any way. I just want to see her as a parent whose child is trying to be independent without the right tool set. Anyway, I'll keep you posted. Thank you all.
Yeah.
How does that make you feel?
Even worse.
It's pretty gross, right? I think I can come at this a little bit with empathy, right? I have had that feeling, that like kind of white knight feeling when, even if I'm being broken up with, of, oh no, I was so good for this person. How are they going to manage without me to take care of them?
Well, Pobody's nerfect.
Pobody's nerfect. Thanks. I kind of get where he could get his head wrapped up in that, but he takes it pretty far to saying he feels like a parent whose child is trying to be independent and all of that, right? He takes it too far.
Yeah, and he's only 4 years older than her.
Right.
It's just weird.
It's weird. This still is feeling more and more American to me.
Could be.
Maybe it's just the vibe of this guy is feeling American. Oh, and he uses simp, which is kind of an American slang, right?
Well, I mean, that's kind of an online.
It's an internet slang. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
I'm leaning more American than just reading. I see where you get the Indian vibe from the first post, but I don't know. All right. We got another edit for clarification. It seems I didn't word this out correctly. She was my girlfriend for the last 3 years, and we had been living together all that time up until 3 months ago when I was relocated temporarily for a set lapse of 6 months total. We were engaged and had an otherwise normal and loving relationship. We slept together daily and had quality time together whenever I was off of work and had sex frequently.
Get it, son.
Also, for context, I am 31 male and she is 27 female. I don't know that adds much of anything other than defending himself from being a simp, I guess. I don't know. He's like, yeah, no, we had a kind of normal relationship whenever I was paying her a salary of precisely 56% of my salary.
Oh, it's just...
Yeah.
It's weird.
It's weird. It's weird. Don't pay your partner a salary.
Well, and also... It's like my girlfriend broke up with me. Bro, you were engaged. That's right. Your fiance.
That's your fiance.
Nobody goes, oh, my girlfriend broke up with me. It's my fiance left me right before I was going to go to the altar. Right? Like, that's a much more dramatic angle to go from.
It really is. And
he's still referring to her as his girlfriend?
His girlfriend. And his employee, don't forget that.
Oh, yeah. Girlfriend and employee, sorry.
He wears many hats.
Ugh. All right, let's move on to another one that's hopefully not as weird.
Is gross.
All right, so this story comes from the Am I the Asshole subreddit. It says, am I the asshole for expecting my delayed inheritance to be adjusted for inflation? When my grandma died, she left roughly $1 million to my mother, 66, and $350,000 each to me, 28 male, my brother, 38 male, and my sister, 30 female. My mom didn't really need the money she received, so she asked if I'd be okay with her giving $500,000 each to my brother and sister so they could buy houses outright. The deal was I'd get my $500,000 when she dies, and then the rest of her assets would be split 3 ways. I agreed since I still live with my mom due to depression and anxiety and didn't need the money right now. So my brother and sister used up most of their $850,000 each, the $350,000 from grandma plus $500,000 from mom, to buy their houses. I invested my $350,000, and after 1 year, it's already made about $50,000 in profit. A few months later, I realized that $500,000 today won't be worth the same by the time I actually get it years from now. I talked to my mom about it, and she agreed that adjusting the amount for inflation was fair. She changed her will, so I received the future equivalent of $500,000 in today's money, and not just a flat $500,000. We didn't tell my siblings about this update. We figured it wasn't a big deal unless it came up and didn't want drama if they disagreed, but we also weren't going to lie about it. Well, yesterday it came up. My mom casually mentioned it to my brother, and he got angry. He called me devious for hiding it. He argued that if my investments continued to grow at the same pace, I could end up with over $1 million in profit in 20 years, way more than what they'll gain from their houses. He thinks that the $500,000 I get later shouldn't be adjusted because my investment growth makes up for it. He also argued that they had to use all of their $850,000 to buy places to live, while I get to live at home basically for free, aside from paying bills, and can just let my money grow. But technically, they could have chosen to live at home too if they wanted to. Anyway, my brother told our mom to change the will back, and when she asked me, I just said fine. I didn't want to fight and strain the relationship with him or my sister if she finds out and takes his side. But now I'm having second thoughts. I still feel like I'm being reasonable asking for the value of $500,000 in today's money, but maybe I'm wrong? Am I the asshole for thinking it's fair to adjust the $500,000 for inflation, even if my investments might outperform their houses?
Okay. I'm kind of supportive of OP here. I would probably go a little differently. Instead of saying, hey, Mom, your estate needs to give me an inflation-adjusted inheritance, maybe ask Mom to put that $500K in an investment account that has him as a beneficiary and just get it, take it completely out of the will. And that way he gets not only inflation-adjusted $500,000, he gets investment-adjusted $500,000.
Yeah, but it's weird because I'm using that a lot today.
Yeah, I was going to say that might be an episode title.
I don't know where that $500,000 is going to come from. That might make a difference.
It sounds like it's his mom's money, right? Because she turned $1 million inheritance into $1.5 million to divide amongst 3 children. And the mom didn't need the money. My guess is the mom has money, right? She's comfortable.
Yeah, giving her $500,000 each. So that's the $1 million right there.
But there's 3 of them.
Right.
So she had to kick in another 500.
She will have to kick in another 500 for OP.
Yeah. So I'm assuming what's happening here really is it's $500,000 to OP and then divide the rest of whatever's left 3 ways.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. I would argue that they didn't have to use all of their $850,000 to buy places to live. Yeah. And also that brother and sister don't have a mortgage, assumably, right?
Right.
So they are benefiting greatly by not having to pay for their home.
Okay. I have no sympathy for brother and sister here. Like, oh, wham.
But there is an edit, and it is kind of important. Mm-hmm. And it says, edit, probably not important, but just to clarify, the amounts are in Australian dollars. So $1 Australian is about 65 cents US dollar. I know that's still a lot, but I just wanted to be clear. We weren't really a rich family or anything. It's just that my grandma's property ended up being worth a lot after she owed it for over 60 years. Also, I do contribute to my living expenses by paying half of the bills. So, in that case, Australian real estate is super expensive. Right. And they probably did have to use all of their $850,000 to buy even a small, reasonable place.
Yeah. But like OB said, they could have lived with mom. They could have rented. Yeah, there were options. The overall assessment of this post was everyone sucks here, which, like, I don't know. I really think OP's not the asshole. He's trying to figure out something that's fair.
That's what I would say.
Yeah. There is a top post here. Everyone sucks here. None of this makes sense. Your siblings didn't need to buy a house in cash. That was a choice and is a massive privilege. No one is entitled to any inheritance beyond what a will states. Being that your mom isn't dead, she decided to gift your siblings $500,000 each. She can decide to give you more in her will. There is no way to adjust for future inflation. Your mom may live another 30 years and not have much money left. So that is an interesting point, because if she lives and has end-of-life care needs and she lives like 30 years, $500,000, and just for inflation over 30 years, that's going to be a lot of money, right?
Yeah.
That's going to double a few times. Maybe at least it's going to at least double, right? And if she lives for 30 years, she's going to need all that money. And then now OP is just going to be shit out of luck, right?
Yeah. But, I mean, presumably he would have had that money to, like, he invested all of that $350,000. Yep. So, you know, maybe that will come out ahead in the long run. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, no. It's weird. It's not going to come out equitable in the end. I mean, even if it came out quote unquote equitable, we've seen this in other stories where one person gets $500,000 and they throw it in a house and a car, and the other one gets $500,000 and they invest in it. It turns into $1 million. And then the people who blew all the money are just salty and go attack the person who invested and saved anyway, right? So, like, none of this is ever going to go well.
Yeah. I mean, inheritance makes people do weird things.
Yeah, inheritance is not great.
And people get really funny about money.
Yeah.
And, you know, I just got back from dealing with my family over inheritance matters. And I can confirm that my family went all squirrely when my grandma died and there was money left over. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I don't know. Because my mom chipped in like $500 for my sister's wedding 16 years ago. Mm-hmm. And I said, oh, are you going to chip in the same amount for me? And she was like, yeah, absolutely. So chipped in $500. And I was like, wait a minute, shouldn't this be indexed to inflation to account for 16 years? And it was kind of a joke, but also kind of not, because $500 doesn't go as far as it did 16 years ago.
Sure.
I don't actually think they ever gave us any money at all, but they did buy us really nice outdoor seating chairs.
Yes.
So
they were very generous.
Which I think
and we also didn't need the $500.
Yeah, we didn't need the $500 and we did need the chairs. So
yeah.
I'm not upset with how that worked.
Right. Yeah, it is strange that people can't be gracious whenever it comes to inheritance, and people feel entitled. I've never had that feeling of can't wait till so-and-so dies because their money is really just my money, temporarily misplaced.
Yeah, it's very
wild.
Covetous.
Right.
But, you know, I've been reading a lot on the internet that, like, people do all sorts of horrible things to elders and take advantage of them as their faculties go. And they can't really think clearly for themselves anymore and take advantage of them and their money while they're still even alive.
Right.
So it's not surprising to me that people are getting weird.
Yeah. Inheritance is not great. I encourage everyone to make use of their money when they're alive. And if you have money you want to give somebody, give it to them before you die.
Yeah. Well, that's the whole die with zero thing, right? Like, give money to people when it's actually useful.
Mm-hmm. You're not spending the money, but you still get to see the value of it, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Like, I know that, if my parents had an inheritance, it would be a lot more useful for us to have it now in this season of life than, if they live another 20 years or something.
Right. Yeah. And some of that is, like we mentioned here with OP's mom, you do need some money in case you need it for unforeseen circumstances. But if you're sitting on a bunch of money, get rid of it if you can.
Yep.
All right. This last one here is from Our Relationships. It says, I, 29 female, am selling my home. Do I give my boyfriend, 35 male, equity? I'm selling a home that I solely own, my name only on the mortgage and deed, that I bought while my boyfriend and I were newly dating, and expect to net about $50,000. This was a VA loan for my service, so I didn't put any money down. For the past 22 months, my boyfriend lived with me and paid an average of $905 a month in rent. My total monthly expenses for the home were around $2,300, so I was still covering a large portion myself. There was no written or verbal agreement that they were building equity. That said, I do want to be fair, but I feel as if he was paying me far less than he should have been in the first place. He has expressed that he wanted a share of equity or at least a portion of what he paid back. I feel like I should pay him to keep the peace, but how much?
Okay, so that seems nice.
Mm-hmm.
I really like that she's trying to be so fair.
Uh-huh.
But also, no, girl.
Yeah.
That's your bread.
I mean, she said $905 a month in rent. Have you ever tried to go to your landlord and been like, hey, I've been giving you a lot of money. Any chance you want to just hit me back?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no. That's her house. He stayed there. And they agreed that $905 was his contribution towards the expenses. Is it
an award for being a decent boyfriend and staying around for 2 years? It's like, hey, you passed the test, Charlie.
It's like a reward.
It's like, Charlie, you won.
Also, they've been dating for 2 years.
Yeah.
Almost. So she was 27.
Mm-hmm.
And he was 33. That's a little bit of a gap.
Yeah, it's especially, 33 is awfully old to be shacking up with your 27-year-old girlfriend.
Also, I think you need to read the rest of it because that provides a lot of context.
Okay. All right, let's go ahead and do the update. Whoa, was not expecting this much feedback. I've read through the majority of it and I need to add context. Perfect. That's what we need. We live with my son 50% of the time. Boyfriend had an entire room to himself in the house. He did split home repairs with me when we had them. Not much, but there were a few. My loan had $233,000 left on it, and my net proceeds will be about $50,000. My entire monthly payment to live here was average $2,300 to include all utilities. He paid $905 flat. We split groceries for the most part, but when we go out to eat, he pays 95% of the time. We are buying a new house together, again, another VA loan, so no down payment is required. This is a house that we must split 50-50 so I can afford my share. He makes about $110K more than me, and he owns a home he purchased before he started dating that he rents now and profits a few hundred from each month. Hopefully this adds a little more light to the situation. I think it adds a whole lot of light to the situation. This
turns on a whole freaking floodlight of light to the situation.
Yeah. Right. So first of all, they're buying a house together.
Yeah.
She's got $50K cash. How about that's a down payment for their combined house? Like, that seems more fair. It's giving him half of the $50K, but like for some reason that feels more fair to me than her cutting him a check for $25K.
They have a VA loan, so no down payment is required.
Yeah. But just because it's not required doesn't mean you...
Right.
Especially because does a VA loan have PMI?
No.
Oh, really?
No, it does not.
Oh, well, screw that. Don't get...
Right? But here's the thing that makes me go from, to, oh, hell no. He makes about $110,000 more than her.
Yep.
This man has been paying $905 in rent. And we don't know how much she makes.
Yeah.
But he makes at least $110,000 more than her. And he also owns his own home that he purchased before they started dating that he now rents out and profits a few hundred from each month. Is she going to get part of that money?
Right. Yeah, because they're not talking marriage. They're talking buying a house together.
They need 100% to come up with a contract that says what happens to this house in the event of a breakup.
Yeah.
Because it's fine to buy a house with somebody that you're not married to, but you need to have a written agreement drawn up by a lawyer that says, in the event of a breakup, we can do these options.
Yep.
And this is what's going to happen.
Yep. And looking at him, so he makes 110 more than her. So even if she's minimum wage, he's making 130,000, right?
Yeah.
And he's making 130,000. He's paying 905 in rent. And he's even concerned about this $50,000 like that. And he has this other property with rental income, yada, yada, yada. Like the fact that he's concerned about this money from her or like would even bring it up suggests he has a major spending problem, right? Like he is burning hot on the spending side.
Or he's just greedy.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that gets back to the whole inheritance thing of like people with perfectly comfortable lives that all of a sudden get, go ape shit whenever inheritance comes around.
Get all weird.
All weird. More weird stuff. But yeah, no, I think there's a spending issue here certainly on his side. There, once again, we're not in fire subreddit, so everything to me looks like a spending issue because they're not.
All these normies.
Yeah, all these normies. But I think it's a red flag that he's even bringing up the $50K, right?
Yeah.
He should be grateful for the fact that she provided him a place to live for a very reasonable rent. He should be grateful for that. And if they want to move to the next stage of their relationship, they should figure out how to go forward. This is all kind of a red flag to me that he's not handling the situation that way.
It says his money is his money and her money is his money.
Yep. For sure. Yeah, this is the first of many money issues in this relationship if it continues down this path.
What does the comments say? Comments agree with us?
Renting does not and never will imply any equity. You owe your boyfriend nothing, as he could have simply left without recourse any time of his choosing. You, however, took all the risk. 100% of the equity belongs to you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed. Second highest comment. Nope. Not married, not entitled, and if he had a problem with this, he had 22 months to bring it up. He doesn't just get to change the rules because he feels cheated. You served, not him. You earned that loan. You don't let him take advantage of the hard work you've put in. Also, if he had his own place, he would have been paying for more in rent. And he would have zero claim over that money. Why is it reasonable that he expects part of your equity? Why would he expect equity from a random landlord? That's what I said. When you don't own a house, you are a renter, plain and simple. Whether you rent from a company, a random stranger, or your girlfriend who happens to own the house, you are a renter. And as a renter, you should expect your money is being spent on rent that you'll never see again. He's trying to take advantage of your relationship, and by the sounds of it, you probably do a lot just to keep the peace. You know how else to keep the peace by throwing out the garbage, i.e. your boyfriend. Yeah, I didn't even key off of that, but that is a sign whenever you're talking about like keeping the peace in a relationship. That probably means this is probably not the first peace she's kept.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that is probably enough weirdness for us today. I really appreciate you guys listening and sticking through all of these crazy stories. We will continue looking to find the most interesting stories on the internet. If you come across anything that you think would be a good fit for the podcast, please send it to us at firetakespod@gmail.com, or look us up on our Facebook group, and you could post stuff there too. We can continue the conversation there.
Thanks so much for joining us today.
Yep, appreciate you.
See you next time.
Bye-bye. Thank you for listening to the Fire Takes podcast. Wanted to remind you that this is an entertainment podcast. Gwen and I, not financial planners, just opinionated. There are many ways to reach us if you just go to firetakespod.com, including email, Instagram, Reddit, YouTube. You can hear more from Gwen at firymillennials.com. Thanks for joining us. Bye.